Hi, welcome back to Mad About Cards and Crafts. Today I am sharing this card featuring products from the Greetery. This is part of my Christmas 2020 series. I hope you enjoy. Let's jump right in. I am starting with a stamp set called Budding Beauty Winter. This is a layering stamp set. There are several pieces of greenery. This right here is the holly, and I'm going to start by stamping the first layer. I'm using Pink Fresh Studio ink, and this is olive. And then this is the second layer to this stamp. And I'm going to go over the stamp with the lovely evergreen, which is a darker shade. And then I will go around and stamp the other images. I stamp 3 in total of this image, and I'm not going to show you all of the stamping as it's pretty repetitive. I just want to show you one of each to make sure that you understand how it's layering. So you put the first stamp down, and then there's a second stamp that will add the taller greenery, and then a second deeper detail to the holly leaves. And so here I missed a spot on that stamp. I'm going to stamp the second one, and then I'll show you where I stamp the third one, and we'll come in with the other elements that go with this stamp set. So there are some berries, and the berry is an additional 2-step stamp. I'm going to be using passion fruit, will be my lightest color, and then I'll come in with candy apple for just the very fine detail. I am stamping on Nina Solar White. Obviously this isn't Nina Solar White. I am stamping on Nina Desert Storm cardstock. I decided that I wanted to go for a more vintage feel. I've kind of been into that mood lately, is wanting to make more vintage style cards. So I think you're going to see a few more of those, and I hope that you like them. So this is the passion fruit. I love this color. It is, it's a pinkish red, so it has a little more of a pink hue to it. And then when you accent it with the candy apple, which is a true red, it's just absolutely beautiful. So there is the second stamp. I'm going to stamp it twice. Now I'm coming in with the mistletoe. This is a 2-step stamp as well, and then there are berries that go with this. I chose not to use the berries. I decided that I was just going to use the mistletoe itself. I'm using Grassy Knoll, which is this light, really pretty vibrant green. I'll stamp this 3 times, and then I will add the accent layer, which is going to be stamped in I believe I'm stamping the second layer in olive. So I tried to stay in the same green color scheme, tried to keep it between the 3 colors. As you can see, I had a little bit of difficulty because my stem is overlaying on the side of my Misti, so I had to stamp a little bit harder, but that's okay. I'm going to clean my stamp off, move my tape, and I'm going to stamp this last one. And then I'm coming in, there are 3 pieces of greenery. So there's the mistletoe, there's the holly leaves, and then there's a pine branch. I'm not using the branch. I'm just going to use the pine needles, and I'm going to fill in some spots. So here is the second layer of that mistletoe, and I'm going to line it up very carefully. This one's super easy to line up. The first time that I tried lining up the holly, I had to do it a couple of times, and then once I figured out where I needed to position it, then it was easy from that point on. But just as a first attempt, it took me a couple of tries to get the holly, the second layer of the holly lined up. But this mistletoe was super easy. and I think it's very pretty. Mistletoe has green berries, and so I didn't want to bring more green into this. I thought I had enough greenery, and so I thought that the mistletoe looked really nice all on its own. So I'm going to stamp the second layer here. I thought that I cut this out, but apparently I did not. I am going to be doing a Christmas series. I'm super happy that I have a little bit more free time to add some videos with things that I absolutely enjoy. So I have products from the Greetery. This is actually a stamp set that I purchased last year, and I never had a chance to use it. So I wanted to make sure that I used it this year. I have a container full of stamps that I have purchased. I have some of the new Catherine Pooler. If you haven't seen that collection, it's absolutely beautiful. It is a Nordic theme. So I will have a video on December 8th over on Scrapbook Pal, but I also have additional stamps that I have purchased to use on my channel. And for the Not Too Shabby shop, I'm going to be using some LDRS creative stamps, but I bought some additional ones earlier in, I think I bought them in October. They had a big release, and then they had a mini release just recently. So I'm going to be using these three companies, LDRS, Catherine Pooler, and the Greetery. So stay tuned. I hope that you enjoyed this series. Those are the berries that I used on the holly, and I thought that I needed to do a little filling in, so I'm taking that passion fruit and inking up that 3 of the berries, and I'm just filling in some spots. I will come in later. There's a large, where that berry is on the bottom right, I'm going to fill that in with another pine branch in just a few minutes. This is called the Nordic frame. It's an A2 size, not a little bit smaller than A2 size, and I did cut that out. It's beautiful. It has beautiful stitching detail. I hope that you're able to see it in the final photo. I took a piece of Nina Desert Storm cardstock, and this is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is called the Windowpane Plaid background stamp. Instead of stamping onto the Nina, I have put a piece of tape behind it. I laid it out where I wanted it on my stamp, and then I closed my Misti, and it is adhered securely on that door. I'm inking this up with the passion fruit again. I'm going to do it a second time, and I didn't even think about it. I was in a groove and I didn't pull out the foam, and by the time that I did the first impression, I knew that I didn't want to try to mess with anything, so I went ahead and left the foam in my Misti. Typically with a red rubber stamp, you would pull that out. This is the wood slice die. I cut the largest one, and then I cut a center. So this background piece right here is also from the Nina Desert Storm. That piece right there has already been inked with antique linen, and it was cut from Nina Solar White. But I am going to ink over that with gathered twigs, and I did take ground espresso around the larger piece that you saw me inking earlier. All right, moving along. Written in Ribbons. This is the beautiful stamp set that I used on a Pink Fresh Studio card not too long ago with the word peace. I love this. The Written in Ribbons, which is the general sentiments, was featured on Jennifer McGuire. These are beautiful 2-layer stamps. I did cut it out using the die. I'm using that passion fruit again, and then I'm going to do the second layer using the candy apple. So again, I'm keeping the continuity of the colors. And by by keeping that negative space and lining your stamp up in there, it just makes for much easier placement when you're trying to align your stamp. So I typically will take that negative piece, I'll lay my stamp inside of there, at least the first layer I do that with, and then I will put my die inside that negative space and stamp. So here's that beautiful second layer. I think I stamped this 2 times. There we go. 3 times actually. I wanted to get a really deep impression. I wanted to make sure that you could really see that second layer. Here's where I'm adding that pine branch. And when I did stamp the pine branches that I have on the card, I did stamp those in evergreen. This is the sentiment on earth, joy to the world, sorry. And I cut that sentiment strip out, and again, I put my sentiment in the negative space, and then I put my strip inside that so I had good alignment. I'm taking some of that ground espresso and I'm inking up the edges of this card just to add a little bit more depth. And it will also help tie in that wood slice. And I'm using just what was left on my brush from when I did the wood slice. This is some Arteza gouache, and I have added some water to it, and I'm taking a number 8 paintbrush and I'm putting some pretty heavy splatters on this. I love the way that this turned out. I thought it added so much to the card, and now it's time for us to start putting everything together. I am going to add some foam adhesive to the back of the Greenery stamped layer, and I'm going to glue this panel directly down to my card base. And again, that was stamped using the Nina Desert Storm as well. So the only time that I used Nina Solar White was when I stamped or cut the center of that wood slice. Whew, that was hard to get out. And here's where I'm coming in with that fun foam. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe and ring the bell so that you're notified whenever I do upload a video. Leave a comment below. Let me know, do you like vintage Christmas cards? I love the Tim Holtz style. And I love craft cardstock cards, kind of old world cards. Is that a style that you like? What is your favorite type of Christmas card to make? I'm kind of eclectic. I like scenes. I like elegant cards. I like bright and cheery cards. So you're going to see a little bit of everything here on my channel this year with my Christmas card series. I will try to upload 1 video a week that is not a sponsored video, part of a design team, but just Christmas cards that I have made on my own. I love this wood piece. There is so much detail to it. It is hands down my favorite. I have a couple others, and this one just has way more detail, and it's just absolutely stunning. So I'm going to layer my sentiments on the card. You'll see that I put this sentiment strip down, and then I don't like where I actually place the joy. I think there's too much space between the joy and the sentiment strip. So I will pick it up, which is one of the beautiful things about the art glitter glue, and I will move it down just a slight little bit, and then that's going to be my card. There will be a still photo of the card at the end of this, and a couple videos if you're interested in seeing more cards, process videos that I've created. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate all of you. I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. And until next time, have a fabulous day. Thanks for watching.